Hello, I'm Monica Haldar and welcome to The Secrets of How to Cook Indian Food, where I'll be bringing you the tips, tricks and techniques that you need to cook delicious Indian dishes at home. 10 years ago, I started a pop-up Indian restaurant from home with my mum. I now run 2 Indian cookery schools where I teach my students face-to-face and online exactly how to cook delicious Indian food from their home kitchens. I now can't wait to share some of this knowledge with you. In episode 5, we focused on the world of Indian breads, and I taught you how to make 3 different types from one dough. In this episode, we are going to be delving into the wonderful and colourful world of Indian street food, and I'm going to teach you how to make 2 of my favourite snacks. Indian street food comes in all shapes, sizes and colours, and it really depends on where you are in India as to what you'll find on the roadsides. I've been quite lucky to travel all over India, and wherever I go and visit somewhere new, I like to try the local street food. Today I'm going to show you how to make 2 different types of chaat. Chaat is a type of Indian street food that you see served up in different styles all over the country. The actual word chaat means to lick. So anything that comes with chaat should be finger licking good. You'll see a base and it'll be topped with different types of chutneys that are sweet, some are spicy, some are cooling. There's a whole lot of texture with anything with chaat. It's very crunchy, sweet, spicy, tangy all at the same time. It's a flavour explosion. The first type of chaat I'm going to teach you how to make is something called aloo chaat. And the word aloo means potato. So this is a potato chaat. The base of this chaat is going to be potatoes, which we are going to deep fry first. So they're going to be beautiful and crunchy. So I've got about 2 medium potatoes that I have cooked. You can either boil these or you can steam them in a microwave. These are just cooked and I've cut them into bite-sized chunks and I've kept the skin on, which will add even more crunch when we deep fry them. When I deep fry, I like to use a small saucepan or a small wok. We tend not to deep fry that often at home, and that's why it's nice to use a small pan because then you won't use as much oil. So let's get this oil nice and hot. Now I've got a really neutral sunflower oil getting nice and hot in this pan. I like to use something neutral when I'm deep frying and something that has a nice high smoking point. So sunflower oil works really well, rapeseed, vegetable oil, all of those you can use when you're deep frying. So my oil is hot enough. This is probably around about 175 to 180 degrees. If you do have a thermometer you can measure. I like to measure just by popping a potato in, and you should be able to see it just begin to bubble around the edges. Okay, so I'm going to pop these in. You need to just be very, very careful, just so there's no splashback. I'm just sliding the potatoes down the side of the pan. Okay, so I'm not going to overcrowd the pan. I'm going to do this in 2 batches. Once they're in, just give them about 30 seconds or so, and then using a slotted spoon or a spider basket, just move the potatoes around in the oil. It should take about 5 to 6 minutes until they are nice and golden and crisp. If you find that they're getting golden quicker before that, your temperature of your oil is too hot, just reduce the temperature of the pan or take your saucepan off the heat and just allow it to cool down a little bit. Spending that 5 to 6 minutes getting your potatoes crisp is really important. Otherwise, they will look like they're golden, but actually they won't be crisp. We want them to be nice and crunchy, which will add a lot in terms of texture for our chaat. Okay, it's been about 5 or 6 minutes and we can see that these potatoes are perfectly fried. They're golden and crisp to touch. I just want to dig into them as they are, but we shall wait and be patient and use them for our chaat. So make sure you get rid of all of the excess oil. I'm going to place it into a bowl. You can hear how crispy they are. Super, super crispy. Okay, second batch is now done. We'll get rid of the excess oil here. Just check they're nice and crisp. I can confirm they are. And then we are now ready to make our aloo chaat. So So now we're going to build our aloo chaat. And if you ever see this being served on the roadsides, typically in Delhi, this is where this dish is from, you'll see someone called the chaatwala, and that's the chaat dude, if you will. He'll have his potatoes cooking away, frying, and then he'll have an array of different chutneys and toppings. So I've got my own little chaat station here, and I love to make this at dinner parties, and this is such a hit at my pop-up restaurants as well as my cookery classes. I always tell my students as well that this is a fantastic thing to serve up and put on a dinner spread and have people over and let them help themselves and build what I like to call the chaat station. So this is our chaat station here. We've got a mixture of different chutneys, sauces and toppings as well. So let's talk about flavouring our potatoes first. We've got our potatoes which are lovely and crunchy with that gorgeous golden fried skin on there. Use a big bowl for this because we're going to mix everything together. First thing that we're going to do is season our potatoes with a little bit of salt. So literally just a pinch of salt that's going to go in. Next thing is roasted cumin powder. This is different to just normal cumin powder. The seeds have been roasted on a pan lightly and then I've ground them down into this lovely powder. This is so much more flavorful than just regular cumin powder, and this adds so much intensity and depth and nuttiness to your chaat. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is add a bit of chili powder. We're gonna go for about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon depending on your heat preference. We are gonna add some fresh chilies as well, so maybe go less if you don't like it too hot at this point. Okay, the next thing that we're adding in is something called chaat masala. This is an Indian street food spice blend. It's got things like sun-dried mango powder in there, a little bit of chili, black salt. It's tangy, slightly spicy, and absolutely delicious. This is what helps create that finger-licking good flavor in our chaat. So we're gonna put a good teaspoon of chaat masala in here. So now these spices are all covered. We wanna make sure we give them a good mix. Do make sure that your potatoes are hot when you add your spices to them, by the way. It helps them to stick to the potatoes better. So just give them a good old mix. Okay, now these are going to be delicious if you just had them as snacks, but we have to be patient and we're going to build this into chaat. So we've seasoned. Next thing we're going to do is talk chutneys. So the two main chutneys that you see in all street food chaat dishes are these red and green chutneys. So this one, let's talk about this one. This is our tamarind sauce. It's also called imli chutney or lal chutney, and this is made from a tamarind block. It's cooked down with roasted cumin, some black salt. It's warming and tangy and very sweet. Absolutely delicious. It works a treat with these potatoes. So I'm gonna go for 4 generous tablespoons of this chutney. Next chutney is our coriander and mint chutney. This is also called hari chutney, which means the green sauce. And this is made from fresh coriander, fresh mint, chili. It's got heat and freshness and zinginess, and it adds so much flavor to this. So about 2 tablespoons of this. So now we're going to mix this all together. I'm just gonna use a spoon and coat the potatoes in the chutneys. My mouth is actually watering right now. Okay, so now we are going to transfer this to a serving dish, but I am gonna just give this a very quick taste beforehand to see if we need to tweak any of the seasonings. That's really important. No, that's perfect. But this is the time, if you do wanna make it a bit more saltier or spicier, or you want more tang from the tamarind sauce, you can do that now. We're gonna transfer this to our serving bowl now. Now, if you were in the roadsides in Delhi, they wouldn't have a well-presented platter like this. They would serve this on bowls or plates made from banana leaf, which is how I remember this dish being served up. Okay, so now I mean, we've added lots of flavor, but we're not there yet. So we need to take this up a level in terms of flavor. So we've got our wonderful coated potatoes here. Now we're going to pop on our toppings. So the first thing we're gonna pop on for garnish is a little bit of yogurt. I have diluted this down with a bit of milk just to make it a little bit more pourable. And we're going to drizzle this all over. This is going to add a bit of a cooling effect. The tamarind sauce adds sweetness, warmth, and the green coriander and mint chutney adds obviously heat and freshness. The yogurt adds that cooling effect. We're then going to add in some lime juice, so a bit more freshness. So just a nice squeeze of lime. Next, we've got some red onions. So you can use a tablespoon for this or a teaspoon, and you probably need a good tablespoon. I'm gonna use my hand and do a small handful. That's how they would do it on the street sides. Next, we've got something called aloo bhujia or serve. These are crunchy potato noodles, which are very crispy. If you can't get your hands on serve, you can use Bombay mix, and that will work absolutely fine. So a nice, generous covering of our aloo bhujia or our serve. So maybe a good couple of tablespoons. Next, we've got fresh pomegranate. This is just gonna cut through the heat and the tanginess and the creaminess from all the chutneys. So a nice couple of tablespoons of our fresh pomegranate. And look at the pops of color. It's like this chart is bejeweled with the pomegranate. Next, we have some fresh coriander, just a few leaves for a little bit of freshness and color. I'm also going to add some fresh chili. This is completely optional, but chaat should be nice and flavorful, and I think that element of heat adds so much to this chaat. One thing that I like to finish my chaat with is a little extra helping of some more chaat masala. And a little sprig of mint in the middle, just to finish it off. And you can see here this flavor mountain that we built with the potatoes that we deep fried. We tossed them in those spices, and then we topped with the chutneys, and then everything on our chaat station to finish on top. This aloo chaat is sweet, spicy, crunchy, tangy all at once, an absolute flavor explosion. So aloo chaat is now ready. We're now going to use some of these same ingredients to make our next street food snack, which is called bhel chaat. So let's talk bhel chaat. This is also called bhel puri, depending on where you are in India. The base of this is something called muri, which is essentially puffed rice that has been toasted. Now, if you go to an Asian or Indian supermarket, you'll find the puffed rice untoasted in bags. And all I've done is very, very lightly on a dry frying pan, toasted it for about 30 seconds or so. And they are, as you can hear, now very, very crunchy as a result. So very lightly toasting them just helps bring out that nice crisp texture. If you can't get your hands on muri, you can actually use the toasted puffed rice breakfast cereal. I sometimes do that when I have run out of my muri. So this is what we're going to start off with. The next thing that we're going to do is add in our dry ingredients. So I've got a mixture of dry and wet ingredients. We are going to use potato as we did in the aloo chaat. This is one medium potato that I cooked in the microwave, or you can boil it. And I've just cut it into very small bite-sized chunks. We're actually not going to fry these. This is going to go straight in with our puffed rice as they are. Okay, next I've actually got some roasted peanuts here. So I'm going to do about 2 or 3 teaspoons. This is going to add obviously that nice nutty flavor, but also a really nice crunch. Some more ways to add crunch is to add some of our aloo bhujia or the serve, and I'm going to go for a tablespoon or 2 actually of our aloo bhujia. Next thing is Bombay mix. Now this is often snacked on at tea time. It's quite widely and easily available now in lots of Western supermarkets, and I'm going to put 2 heaped tablespoons of Bombay mix in here. So now we've put in our dry ingredients, we're now going to do some seasoning. So first thing is a pinch of salt. Next, we've got some chili powder. This is to taste. We're gonna add some fresh chilies as well. So I'm gonna add about 1/4 teaspoon of chili powder to this. The next thing is our chaat masala again. So a good helping of that, a good teaspoon of chaat masala. Okay, so we're gonna continue with our dry ingredients. I've got some very finely chopped ginger here. I'm gonna add about 1/2 teaspoon's worth. This adds a really nice warmth, but freshness and texture as well as about the same amount of chili finely chopped. If you like it hotter, you can add a bit more. In fact, I'm gonna add a bit more because I like my street food very spicy. Next, I've got some very finely diced tomato. Now, I did de-seed the tomato before chopping, so it doesn't make our bale chaat soggy. So this is a medium tomato. In that goes. Next, our onions again. We're gonna go for a good couple of heaped tablespoons of our finely diced onion. Now I'm being quite sophisticated and doing this in a very controlled way. If you go to the roadsides in India, and bale chaat is very famous in Mumbai, especially on the beaches there, they're served in cones, and the chaatwala who's making the bale chaat just uses his hands and sort of throws everything in, and it's a very sort of messy, colourful affair. This is definitely a more refined way of doing things. Next, we're gonna go in with some pomegranate. Again, a good couple of tablespoons. This is going to cut through the heat and add crunch, sweetness. And I just love the way that it looks, those pops of colour on the chaat. I am gonna go in with my hands for the fresh coriander, a nice handful. Okay, so all of our dry ingredients are now in here. We're gonna give this a quick mix. So dry ingredients are now mixed together. Whenever I teach this in my classes, my students are always amazed by the multiple ingredients and how long the ingredients list is. But actually it's very simple. It's mostly just about prep that you can do ahead of time. And just before, you know, if you're serving this at a dinner party, you can just put everything together. It's actually relatively simple. So don't get put off by that long list of ingredients is what I always tell my students. And when they dig in, they know it's always worth it. Okay, so now our dry ingredients are all mixed. We're gonna go in with our wet. So first thing is lime. We're gonna do about 1/2 lime's worth of juice. Okay, lime juice in. We're going to add our green chutney next. So the coriander and mint chutney that we added in the aloo chaat, same thing going in here. We're going to go for a good couple of tablespoons of that, as well as our tamarind sauce. This is our imli or red chutney as it's called. And we're going to go for 3 tablespoons of this. This is going to add that sweetness again and that warmth. In fact, I'm gonna go 4 tablespoons. This is one of my favorite flavors in this bale chaat. Okay, so wet ingredients are now in. All we need to do is mix this together. Now it's important to work quickly once the wet ingredients are in, and you should be ready to serve quite quickly as well. So I never add my wet ingredients until I know that we are ready to serve and dish up. Okay, so before we do serve up, it's important that, again, we taste, make sure that nothing needs tweaking. That is really good. If you want to add anything, now would be the time to do so, but I'm very happy with all the seasonings there. Now is the time to dish up. Okay, so of course we now need to finish this and dress it. So I like to finish it with a little bit more of our sieve. If I could just transfer the smells to you right now, you'd be really, really hungry and salivating. A few more pomegranate seeds. This is something called papri. This is actually very similar to the pastry that's used to make samosas. So I'm just gonna pop these in. And this of course adds extra crunch. If you can't get your hand on babri, you can add some more Bombay mix on there, just anything to add a bit more crunch. Also, we're going to finish with some fresh coriander. I'm just going to go around the edges with that. And then in the middle, a little sprig of fresh mint. Ready to now dig into, we have here my two favorite street food snacks. We have the aloo chaat, which hails from Delhi, and the bhel chaat, which comes from Mumbai. Dig in and enjoy at your next dinner party, or whenever you feel like you want something a little bit extra special. Try these two different types of Indian street food snacks. I hope you've enjoyed this lesson of the secrets of how to cook Indian food. Be sure to check out my other episodes. I'm Monica Haldar. Thank you for watching.